It's Vikings Game Plan and the winning formula with Wabi, the Vikings insider from Vikings.com, and Ron Johnson from Fox 9's Vikings Game Day Live. Now, with Philadelphia and that at times ferocious pass rush, you do not want to become verklempt. So you have to handle it, and there's a lot to handle. Ron, we begin with you. Best routes of attack against this pass rush?
Yeah, short game. So if you look at last week versus week 2 versus the Packers, he only had 3 or 4 passes under 5 yards that were not called. They were scrambles and he just dumped it off. Last week, 9 passes of 8 yards or less. Oh. They were all called short game passes, and that allows the Eagles, or that would not allow the Eagles defense to get to them. Yep. And then you go deep. And I think it's the same recipe you have to do this week that you did last week.
Good idea.
I think the key is to just not panic. I mean, this Eagles defense had 10 sacks last week against the Jets, so that could make you fret and worry about becoming verklempt. But let's remember, they only had 3 sacks in their first 4 games. Yeah. So it's not like we're dealing with a crew who's coming in here getting a bunch of quarterback pressures every single game. Kirk Cousins needs to calm down, identify the defense and the coverage. Maybe Jim Schwartz isn't coming, maybe he is with the blitz, but as long as Cousins can identify it and know where to go with the ball and get it out on time, we're going to be fine.
Off that highlight package we just saw, Luke Falk not only is verklempt, he was verklipped, and he undoubtedly was in pain on Sunday morning. That was ugly. Now, the Vikings offense made the New York Giants defense look ugly. Question from the winning formula trio. The Vikings offense off that Bears game, then the Giants game, it's back, right? Right?
I'm a little verklempt. I got to wait and see. Like, I can't just jump on it just yet.
What?
Week 1, run game, pass game, kinda. Week 2, pass game struggle, 1 deep ball to Stephon Diggs. Week 3, oh, great. Okay, he's kind of coming back. Week 4, and then week 5, yeah, there we go. So I don't know if we're going to see this Packers offense, because this is another defensive line like the Packers that can give them trouble. Yeah. And so I hope that the offensive coordinator takes a ton from what he did last week and applies it into this week. And yes, the Giants defensive line is nowhere near what they're going to face this week, but you have to utilize the same type of passing game to get Kirk Cousins, and that's the key. Get Kirk Cousins going.
I'm a little more optimistic and on the side of I think they got back on track last week against the Giants. And the reason why, Ron, I think maybe I would subscribe to your theory if we had picked on the Giants secondary with like 50 passing attempts. But they went back to their bread and butter with Dalvin Cook in the running game. I mean, Dalvin had over 200 yards of offense on his own. He had more yards of offense than the Giants had. Jeez. So because the Vikings went back to Old Faithful, Dalvin Cook, I feel like they got back on track to what they do well. They didn't go out of body and pick on something that wasn't in good form, the Giants secondary. They did what they do well, so I'm optimistic about it.
Well, I'm going to copyright one of Wabi's all-time favorite acts, LL Cool J, regarding the Vikings offense. I'm going to say, don't call it a comeback because it was never gone.
I didn't know what song he was going to say.
The Vikings this year have, when it comes to 15-yard runs and 20-yard pass plays, you put those together, they have the second most in the NFL behind the Kansas City Chiefs. So, hey, one game does not a season make. Now, this may be the test of the year for the Vikings defensive line going against maybe the best offensive line in the National Football League in the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, you look across the board at their offensive line. It's first rounders or all pros or Super Bowl starters. All 5 of them were on the Super Bowl 52 winning Eagles team that won the Super Bowl at US Bank Stadium. I mean, it is a group that is battle tested. They have lots of accolades. They were picked early in the draft, and they know this offense really well. So it's not going to be a situation where the Vikings come in with a bunch of talent and win just because they're more talented. The Vikings are going to have to be sound with their scheme and technique as well as talented.
Yeah, and the key is reading your keys. And so with the RPO, I think that's what's tough. A lot of times in the RPO, you're going to see the lineman maybe 2 yards down the field, which should be a flag, but the refs have allowed it to go. We've seen it in 2 or 3 games now where the line is the center and the guard are 3 yards down the field, and he throws it to the tight end still, and there's no flag. So they're going to have to read their keys and understand, even if the linemen are releasing, you still want to kind of get by them and treat it like a pass, but you also have to stay home in the run. So it's tricky. It's a defense that you have to stay home. You have to read your keys, and you have to know if it's pass or run. At the end of the day, I think Mike Zimmer's going to have certain guys key in on the pass part of that, which is Barr and Kendricks.
Yep.
And then the defensive line just go after them. We'll let the linebackers handle the RPO side of it. You go after the quarterback regardless of where the ball is. If it's there, go. If it's a run, you can still get in there. Don't be so worried about the screen game and the other things that come with it.
Another thing is Carson Wentz is the type of quarterback that Ron would have liked to play with because he'll hold on to the ball and wait for you to get open.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So a big-bodied, slow receiver like Ron,
Yeah.
not always quick at the top of his route. I'm just kidding. But he'll hold on to it. So for the Vikings rushers, it is if you get stymied right away, don't quit and go home.
Yep.
Keep rushing because Wentz is going to give you a chance to get there.
Yeah, quite honestly, I think Carson Wentz with Tyler Johnson probably would have succeeded better than with Ron Johnson, but I guess maybe one day we'll see. Thank you very much for watching Vikings Game Plan. For Wobby and Ron Johnson, I'm Paul Allen. On behalf of the Vikings Entertainment Network, have a wonderful day.